Shabbat shalom, everyone. I hope this finds you well. This week's parsha is vayelech, and we're really, really, really getting close to the very end of the whole Torah because we just had Rosh Hashanah this past week. We are about to have Yom Kippur next week, and then right after Yom Kippur, a few days after Yom Kippur, we have Sukkot. And of course, the final 2 days of Sukkot, the first of the final days is Shmini Atzeret, and the next day is Simchat Torah. So we're really getting close. And Simchat Torah, of course, as we spoke about, is the holiday that we celebrate, the going back to the beginning of the Torah. We celebrate the Torah just in general. So there's a lot of really cool things in these final parshiot. It's like Moshe's final communication to the Jewish people. There's some cool stuff. So one of the things that I like the most is Moshe is spending the last 5 weeks of his life giving the longest speech ever. As we said, the beginning of Deuteronomy, the entirety of Deuteronomy is a 5 week span, and Moshe is giving this final speech to the Jewish people over that same amount of time. So it's the longest speech ever, but it's also his last sort of hurrah to express all the things he needs to do, all the things he needs to say to the Jewish people. So as he, is finishing up this whole speech, reminding the Jewish people of what they need to do in the Torah and all the things that they're responsible for, he says, and now, so after he finishes writing the Torah for himself and for the Jewish people, he says, and now, write for yourselves this song, atashira. Shira is the word for song, writing. Teach it to the children of Israel. Place it into their mouths in order that this song will be for me as a witness for the children of Israel. So this other thing of like placing it into their mouths, it's teach it to the children of Israel, place it into their mouths. And this reminds me of what we talked about this past week with the really gorgeous quote from the Torah that talks about how the Torah is not so far away. So the quote, again, what we talked about last week, is that for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not too hard for thee, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven that thou should say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it to us, and make us hear it, that we may do it. Neither is it beyond the sea that thou should say, who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it to us, and make us hear it, that we may do it. But the word is very close to you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. So again, the word of Torah is very close to you. It's in your mouth and in your heart. We talked about last week that what does this mean? So obviously these things are in our heart because we're Jews and we have this spark of godliness in us, but it's in our mouths. It's our base instinct to live lives that are Torah worthy, that are lives that are worthy of representing the Jewish people. So here again, we're told, Moshe tells everyone, you shall write this song. Again, song is used sometimes as poetry or, to kind of mean just like a large amount of information that's like maybe melodic, maybe poetic. Teach them this song. Place it into their mouths. Again, so this is like maybe the origin of that. The Torah is very close to you. It's already in your mouth and it's in your heart. So I just kind of love that idea that it's like it's not something you have to think about. It's just your instinct, and that's whatever the words of Torah are, you're going to be able to say them. And again, this word usage of the word shira. Yes, it means song. Yes, it means poetry, but it also means something even more special. And we're reminded of it in the Haftarah that we read on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, the story of Hannah. So if we remember, Hannah was a barren woman. She was praying in the temple for a son. And she was so, overcome, and she was rocking and she was murmuring to herself that it seemed as though she was drunk. So the priest is like, oh my gosh, you're drunk. And she's like, no, I'm not. I want a child so badly, etc., etc. And there is a song of Hannah, like Shirat HaChana or Shira Hannah. I forget what it's actually called. But there is a song of Hannah. Okay, so yes, it could be like a literal song. But really what we're told in commentary is that like the song at the sea, Shirat Hayam, in Parshat Beshalach that we read in the winter, my favorite parsha, Shabbat Shira, it is also this representation of a situation where all of the seemingly unrelated parts of the world come together and form a melodic, beautiful score. And that melodic, beautiful score is us recognizing God's hand in the world. And I just find that so powerful and beautiful. So again, Moshe is telling the people, you must teach the Jewish people how to observe mitzvot and how to be Jews, but you also have to teach them about the way of divine inspiration, that the world is made of all these godly parts and sparks of inspiration, and sometimes we have a beautiful moment where we experience the shira, we experience the song, where all these parts come together and we have this melodious, harmonious score. Sometimes we have that experience, but not always. And when we do, it's so special and we have to appreciate it so much. So that's this week's parsha, vayelech. Shabbat shalom. Looking forward to seeing you all, God willing, next week.